In this episode of the AVG Fantasy Football Podcast, Tyler Revelis and Missionary Mike go over the NFL Week 9 waiver wire, who to add, who to stash, and even some recent news.
Fuck it, we're doing it live. First word out of the podcast. Welcome to the AVG Fantasy Football Podcast, Season 4. We're talking Week 9 waiver wire. In this episode, we're going to go over some recent news, things going on. How did your NFL Week 8 go, Tyler?
Mine was pretty good. I had a victory last night. I had two games where it was in a nail biter. And I had Zeke and CeeDee Lamb, and just ironically, I was going in two matchups against Adam Thielen and Justin Jefferson.
Oh, wow.
And
so you're all in on the Cowboys.
Oh, man, yeah. So it was a nail biter. I ended up winning one by 1.5 points.
Nice.
And I won the other one by 0.25 points.
And if that's not the tale of the century right there, that's a good win.
I'm praying for no stat corrections. Please, by the fantasy gods.
Football gods.
Yeah.
I haven't had something like that happen to me in a long
no
time. They're pretty good about it.
No whammies.
All right. Well, as always, my name is Missionary Mike. I'm here with your boy T, also known as Tyler Revelis. And we're talking Fantasy Football Week 9 waiver wire. I just want to say before we start, apologize not having a start-sit episode last week. I'm starting a new job. Tyler's over here. He works a crap ton. This is a side thing that we do, so it's we try and make time for it, but it's a bummer. But we always do every week, every Sunday morning, we do start sits live on YouTube. So if you're listening to this on audio, go check that out every Sunday morning. And because we give it like really up to date versions, when we release these episodes, things come out and whatnot after we record and whatnot. So if you go to those live streams, especially before Sunday games, we have very fresh information for you. So there's that. Like I told someone to play Pat Freimuth.
Humble brag.
Anyways, so let's get into it. We'll go into today's recent news. We got Derrick Henry. You want to talk about that one first?
Yeah, we can talk about that one first.
Okay, Derrick Henry's foot injured. So the Titans go ahead and they make some signings. They go and sign Adrian Peterson. Who do you want to talk on first, Jeremy McNichols or Adrian Peterson?
Let's touch on AP.
Okay, let's touch on Adrian Peterson first. Gets signed to the Tennessee Titans. This guy, it's like him and Frank Gore. You think they're gone, and all of a sudden they're back.
They're just like, yeah. But yeah, Derrick Henry goes down. It's crazy how we're watching some of these Derrick Henry highlights and, just seeing how big he is. I mean, the guy's like as big as the offensive lineman when he's standing next to him.
Yeah, it's
just crazy to think like a broken bone in his toe or his foot is going to like basically keep him out for the next several weeks, pretty much the whole fantasy season. I think they were saying he could come back towards the tail end of the season, maybe potentially if they do make the playoffs. So, but yeah, it's just crazy. A bone in his foot could take down the behemoth man known as Derrick Henry. But yeah, so he goes down. The Titans waste no time in signing a veteran depth running back. They go out and they get Adrian Peterson. He's going to be signed to the practice squad right now, but eventually he will get promoted to the active roster is my guess for him there. So, I mean, yeah, he was out in a couple leagues where I had some Giants players. I had Darius Slayton in 2 leagues. So instead of, he didn't play. So I went out and grabbed him. We're recording this, obviously, Monday before the Monday Night Football game. So I was able to drop Darius Slayton and go out and grab Adrian Peterson, just throw him on my bench and see what happens and what he could be. I mean, obviously, still the Titans want to run the ball a lot, especially since Julio Jones can't seem to stay healthy. It's still going to be a run-heavy team. But, I mean, I'm not mad at taking a swing in the dark on Adrian Peterson and seeing if he's going to be the guy. I mean, he's, when they get in close, they're still probably going to give him the football. I mean, it's, like you said, Jeremy McNichols is there, but he's more of like the scat back. They don't have like another bruiser kind of back. Obviously, Derrick Henry's irreplaceable. But yeah, like, what I'm trying to say is they don't have a power back. So when they get in close, I think it's going to be Adrian Peterson who sees all those goal line carries.
Yeah. I mean, that's a good point. I think they were just banking on the fact that Derrick Henry, we were even saying it last week. I don't think when we were recording, but just how he doesn't really get hurt.
Yeah.
But so, yeah, I don't think they were really prepared. So they went, like you said, didn't waste any time. Yeah, I would go grab him in some leagues. There's definitely fantasy value there with Adrian Peterson. Jeremy McNichols, I think that's good speculation ad as well. But I would be targeting Adrian Peterson first.
For sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So with other recent news, we got our boy Calvin Ridley. Calvin Ridley goes and makes an announcement that he is out for football for an undisclosed amount of time. He said he didn't really say when at all in the announcement, but he's doing it for mental health or whatnot. So what do you make of this? Do you think he'll be back? What do you do if you own Calvin Ridley? These are the questions people need answers to.
Yeah, so it's tricky. I have Calvin Ridley in one league. Fortunately for me, or fortunately for the wide receiver position, for the most part, I feel like that's the easiest position to recover from. Or there's always guys on the waiver wire that you could potentially grab and throw into your starting lineup. You probably have the most depth at the wide receiver position, so hopefully you can replace him that way. If not, yeah, this is tough. He'll probably be out. My guess, like I said, he said he's dealing with some mental, health issues, so he's got to get his mind right before he can get his body right and get back onto the football field. So I'm guessing he'll be out. Like I said, this is just a pure shot in the dark guess here, but I'm guessing 2 to 3 weeks tops until he returns. I mean, he's basically in a contract year. He obviously has the 5th-year option to where the Falcons could put the 5th-year option on him. He'd make $11 million next year if they do that, which would be a huge increase. He's only made like $11 million total in 4 years, including this year. So,
right.
Calvin Ridley, one of the best wide receivers in the game, who he was primed or is still primed to, as long as he can get back on the football field, primed to make a lot of money. I mean, you got to think what these receivers are making. Galladay was making like $17 million a year. Amari Cooper, Michael Thomas, those guys are making like $20 million a year. Julio Jones, D-Hop, those guys make like $18, $20 million a year. So Calvin Ridley was like that next man up in terms of getting the bag or securing the bag. So, financially, it makes a lot of sense for him to get back on the football field. Obviously it's tough when you are going through mental problems. We were talking off air saying here, you just don't know. And I always talk about it, obviously physically, and talent-wise, he's top tier, but if your mind's not right, it's hard to really go out there and perform at a top level. You could have baby mama drama. You could have deaths in the family.
It could be anything, like you said.
A lot of different things that we don't see or we don't know that these athletes go through on a day-to-day basis. All we see is them on Sundays, trying to put up points for our fantasy teams.
Tearing it up.
Yeah. But yeah, if I have Calvin Ridley, it's tough. Like I said, if I could hold on to him, I just want to hold on to him because I think he'll return in a timely manner, especially if I have a good record, if my record's healthy right now. If I'm in a pinch and I'm just like, man, I need to win now because I'm struggling, I might be looking to trade him to, I'm not selling him for dirt cheap, but I might be trying to, trade him away so I can get players now. Because if I'm in a win now mode, then it's like, yeah, I gotta just use the name of Calvin Ridley and I gotta get some guys into my lineups that can get me fantasy points until he figures out his situation. Me personally, I'm gonna go out and throw some offers for Ridley. I'll take the gamble on it. I'll take a gamble on buying low on Ridley. And if he comes back, I'm gonna hope that he could be what he's been at least, which is in PPR leagues, he's been getting you like 12 points a game. Nothing crazy, but safe floor. Still getting heavily targeted in this offense. So I'll take the gamble on him. And then if he doesn't come back, like I said, it's just you're gambling on it. But I mean, the upside of having him and kind of buying him at a discount right now is the risk is worth the reward, in my opinion.
Yeah, I wouldn't impulsively drop him though. I would try not to at my hardest.
I definitely wouldn't drop him. I would be, if anything, trade him because you could get something for him.
Well, right. I just want to make that clear. It's like I know he's going to be there may be some things you're reading or hearing that he's going to be, he's done with football and whatnot. He could very well be that, but I'm still going to just hold on to him as much as I can, whatnot.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of a bummer. I traded for him in Dynasty League, so really hoping he comes back at some point. But
Trying to make a trade?
no, I'm good with you. I'm good.
You never trade me, dude.
I know. And we can talk other recent news. Von Miller was traded from
Speaking of trades.
Speaking of trades. Yeah, by the way, we're recording this on Monday around 3 o'clock p.m. Pacific time. So, you know, the trade deadline is tomorrow. There could be more trades that happen, but who knows? But we can talk about Von Miller. Von Miller was traded from the Denver Broncos to the Los Angeles Rams. I mean, the Broncos went just from having this first 3 weeks, having this great season, to all of a sudden now, they're getting rid of Von Miller. I don't know. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
I think it's a smart move. I mean, Von Miller, I think it's not a bad move trading him, though.
Nah, not at all. I mean, I think it's a good move for both teams. You know, the
Yeah.
Rams are in a win-now mode, so they go out, they get a pass rusher like Von Miller. Denver, they get a second-round and a third-round pick, I believe it is. So, you know, they're planning for the future. I kind of have a crazy theory of why they traded him. They're trying to get draft picks is because they're trying to load up on draft picks because they're going to trade for Deshaun Watson before the deadline.
Whoa.
So obviously, we'll know before less than 24 hours from after recording this, but you know, that's just extra ammo now that they have to, you know, potentially move to the Texans to acquire Deshaun Watson. So we'll see. Like I said, it's just a theory. It's speculation, but yeah, I'm not mad at it. I think it's a good thing. Obviously, this is a boost if you have the Rams defense. They're going to be one of the best defenses for the rest of the season. This obviously hurts the Broncos defense if you have the Broncos defense. So, yeah.
That would be crazy. Deshaun Watson in Denver.
I would love to see Deshaun Watson. You know, obviously the three names have been Miami, which I don't like, Carolina, and then the Broncos. But, I mean, the Broncos have got weapons. You got Sutton, you got Jerry Jeudy, Noah Fant, Tim Patrick.
They do have a lot of weapons.
They got a lot of weapons, so they just need a guy who can get them the football. And, you know, Deshaun Watson would be that guy. So we'll see if the Broncos go out and make a move. Like I said, maybe Miami, maybe the Panthers, or maybe not. So
maybe nowhere.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's jump into the waiver wire.
Let's do it.
You ready? Because I'm super ready right now. Just give me a moment. I will be ready, right?
Pad the wire.
Pad the wire.
Pad the wire. We're going into the waiver wire section. We're going to talk quarterbacks first. We got our boy Derek Carr. First off, we don't have a lot of quarterbacks this week, but want to speak on one at least, or a couple. Derek Carr, Raiders quarterback. Why are we going to get Derek Carr?
I mean, yeah, usually when we go over quarterbacks, it's for
like streaming for that
streaming
week
purposes. Yeah, like, hey, like what are some good quarterbacks to stream? I mean, obviously, if there's a lot of quarterbacks. You know, let's say if you're in a 10-man league, you know, it's, you know, most of the good quarterbacks are taken. So maybe you just like, hey, I'm trying to play the matchups or whatever. But I mean, yeah, you got Derek Carr here. He's coming off a bye. Next week, he's going to be playing against the New York Giants in New York. I mean, and Derek Carr, or as I should say, to keep the Halloween theme going, Sid from Toy Story.
Nice.
300 or more passing yards in 5 of the 7 games so far. He's had 19 or more points in all 5 of those games. So he's been pretty safe and consistent each and every week for the most part. Like I said, they're coming off a bye, so extra time to prepare for a mediocre Giants pass defense. The Giants have allowed quarterbacks to score 20 or more points in 5 of the 7 games so far. Like Mike said, we're recording this early Monday before the Monday night game, so I'm going to just, bet that after tonight, Mahomes will put up 20 or more points, so that number will have increased to 6 out of 8 games. The Giants have allowed 20 or more points to the quarterback.
I bet Mahomes
position,
can't do anything up against this Giants pass defense, and uh-oh.
Yeah. And hopefully you're getting Darren Waller back. He sat out last week prior to the bye, so yeah, that always helps when you have a guy like Darren Waller to throw the football to. So, yeah, I do like Derek Carr this week as a streaming option.
Very good. I like it, too. Derek Carr, go pick him up. Pick him up.
Pick him up.
Okay, let's go to Tua Tagovailoa.
Tua Tagovailoa.
But see, the L's later.
As Rick Ross would say.
Tua Tagovailoa. Anyways, Tua, Miami Dolphins. I mean, besides being a Dolphins fan, why is this the week? playing the Texans.
So it's just crazy that the trade deadline's coming up, and you're getting all these like rumors with Miami and the Texans making a move, getting Deshaun Watson, which, in return, I think one piece they would have to give to the Texans would be Tua. And then, this week they play the Texans. So how wild would that be if they do pull off this trade?
Right.
And then the very first game that Deshaun plays as a Miami Dolphin is against the Texans against Tua. That would be insane.
Yeah, that would be nuts.
Yeah. But I do like Tua. I know he's coming off a bad game this last week against the Bills. But, that was a tough matchup on the road in Buffalo. Miami never really plays good in Buffalo. The Bills coming off a bye as well. So extra time to prepare for a division game that they're familiar with the Miami Dolphins. But this week, Tua is going to be at home in sunny Miami against the Houston Texans. Texans defense not very good. We just saw what Matt Stafford did to them in a half of football, not even a full game, but in a half of football. But the Texans allowing 8.6 yards per pass attempt. That is tied third worst in the NFL. They're basically a bottom 10 pass defense. I like Tua in this matchup. He got DeVante Parker back last week. We'll touch on him when we get to receivers, as I talk about DeVante Parker every week. Maybe it's just because I am a Dolphins fan, but when we get to
I would want to put him in here even if you weren't.
Yeah, but I like Tua this week, and they're throwing the ball so much. They're one of the pass happiest offenses in the NFL.
That's what we were talking about on the Start Sits live stream on Sunday, is the fact that all of a sudden the Dolphins literally all they do is pass the ball.
They just throw the ball, dude, and it's Parker's healthy. Like I said, we saw what he did this last week. You got Gesicki, who had a down game, but Gesicki, we've seen what he could do as well. You got Waddle there. And then some of these pass-catching running backs out of the backfield as well. And then, we've seen Tua get it done on the ground. I think he's got like 2 or 3 rushing touchdowns on the year already. So he's not afraid to, try to run it in and utilize his legs as well.
Yeah. I love it. Quarterback Tua Tago Viola.
I hope the Dolphins don't trade him. I like Tua as a Dolphins fan. Sidebar, side chat or whatever.
Sidebar.
I
denied.
I like Tua.
Overruled.
I don't think that obviously you get an upgrade going to Deshaun Watson over Tua, but I don't think it solves the other issues that the Miami Dolphins have as a team collectively. So I really hope they keep Tua. I'm still waiting to see what Tua could do once Will Fuller comes back as well into this lineup.
Sure. Okay, let's go on to the running back position. Are you ready for the running back position?
Run it.
Running backs. First off, we got A.J. Dillon. Sorry, these running backs are kind of out of order, but this is how I have them.
It's all good. Yeah, A.J. Dillon, a guy who, he was coming off a bad game a couple weeks ago. I think he had like 2 fumbles or something like that. And then plays on Thursday night. No Devontae Adams, no Alan Lazard. I brought it up in the Thursday night preview for that game that I thought we would see a heavy dose of A.J. Dillon because the Cardinals were giving up like 5 yards per carry. And, with the lack of pass-catching weapons there for Rodgers, I felt like they were going to rely on the ground game a ton. Keep Kyler Murray on the sideline, just ground and pound out of victory. I think they did that for the most part. I think he had like 15, 16 carries, got like 78 rushing yards. Don't quote me on that exactly. But, he looked good. And I want to say, hashtag interesting stat I saw or I read somewhere, it was in terms of like yards after contact, I think he's like number 1. And you would think it's like Derrick Henry, but it's like he's number 1 in yards after contact. You just see how big the guy is. We talk about Derrick Henry being big. A.J. Dillon's a
gigantic,
pretty big dude as well. So, the last 5 games, he's had 11 or more carries in 3 of the 5. It's starting to get colder. When you're playing in Lambeau Field, it's cold up there. It's, as you would say, frigid, I guess is a nice word. The last thing you're going to want to do as a defender, especially a safety or a cornerback, is to tackle this guy who's just humongous, running full speed at you. So I do think as we get, towards, November is starting up, December, maybe we start to see A.J. Dillon a little more utilized in the ground game because, like I said, it is hard to tackle a guy that big, especially when it's freezing cold outside.
Yeah,
so,
I think it took a little bit of time for him to get more involved. But, obviously, I think what this is kind of like a speculation at. That's a lot of yards.
Yeah. And then, God forbid if anything happens to Aaron Jones, it seems like he would be the guy that they would just like full workhorse load to. So,
yeah.
Yeah. A good bench stash, at this point, kind of, like I said, if anything happened to Aaron Jones, he would be the guy. So lottery ticket, or if you have Aaron Jones, I definitely want A.J. Dillon on my team.
Definitely. Make sure you go get him if he's available. Let's go on to the next guy. We have our boy. He plays for the Las Vegas Raiders. He is a great guy. And
Drake! Drake!
we got Kenyon Drake for the Las Vegas Raiders. Running back does pretty well. By the way, speaking of running backs, who do you think is who so far on Sunday had the biggest fantasy game as far as running backs?
Darrell Henderson.
Nope. You'll never guess it. You want to play this game again?
Last time you did that, I guessed it on the first try.
Yeah, okay.
Best running back so far.
Or in week 8.
Michael Carter.
Okay, well, yeah. I gave it to you by saying that. And guess what? Your boy benched him.
Yeah. Nice.
Tie it.
Yeah.
Anyways, Kenyon Drake. Let's go ahead and tell the people, man, what's going on.
Yeah, so Drake's kind of had an up and down season. I mean, a couple weeks ago he had the game where he got the rushing touchdown and the passing touchdown, but I think it came on like 6 touches or 7 touches. You know, we just said, hey, that type of efficiency is not something that should be able to sustain, so we didn't really like it. The next week he comes out. Josh Jacobs gets hurt, so now they really relied on Kenyon Drake. He came out, and he got you 17 PPR points in that game, scores another rushing touchdown prior to the bye. But, I mean, yeah, the last 2 weeks, 21 points, 17 points in PPR leagues. He's like 40 to 50% available. I mean, at this point, like I said, you can never have enough running backs. Like, get Drake on my team, and if anything happens to Josh Jacobs, I know Peyton Barber was the guy who was kind of heavily utilized, but, you know, John Gruden isn't there anymore, so you got like a new, I guess, offensive-minded coach calling the plays or running the show over there for the Las Vegas Raiders, and maybe they want to utilize Drake more than in the past. So, yeah, go out and get Drake.
Very good. Drake, baby Drake. I don't know how I feel. Anyways, you said it well enough. Let's go into Jordan Howard with the Philadelphia Eagles. No Miles Sanders, so we got a couple of Eagles boys to talk about. Jordan Howard, what are your thoughts? Because you got him and Boston Scott. What's going on?
Yeah, I mean, this Eagles running back, or the Eagles running backs, I should say, it looks like a mess right now. I mean, this is kind of, we're getting too close to that territory of like the Ravens backfield in terms of, if you know, it's only a 1-game sample size with Miles Sanders being on IR. He'll be out for at least 2 more weeks. But, I mean, the snap percentage was Boston Scott led the running backs 45%, Kenneth Gainwell 31%, Jordan Howard 25%. But in terms of, like, the touches, you had Kenneth Gainwell 13 touches for 27 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 receptions, which is insane when you think of Gainwell being, like, the pass-catching back out of the 3. And it's with how many points they put up, you would think that Kenneth Gainwell would have definitely gotten you some points there. But, yeah, only 13 carries for 27 yards, Kenneth Gainwell. Boston Scott, 12 carries, 60 yards, 2 touchdowns. Jordan Howard, 12 carries, 57 yards, 2 touchdowns. So this makes me super nervous if I am a Kenneth Gainwell owner. And if you started him last week, he obviously put up a dud for you. But it seems like when they get in close, it's going to be Boston Scott, it's going to be Jordan Howard, it's going to be Jalen Hurts, and then it's going to be Kenneth Gainwell, who's getting the goal line, getting the goal line carries while Miles Sanders is out. So this is just gross. I mean, obviously it's hard to dictate too because they were up by so much. I think Jalen Hurts only threw the ball 16, 17, 18 times in that ballpark. So it's kind of hard to gauge on how they're going to utilize these running backs. But, yeah, when they get in close, it looks like Boston Scott, Jordan Howard, those are going to be the guys that they're going to give the ball to, not Kenneth Gainwell. So these guys are like desperation plays. You know, I don't feel confident at all picking up any of these guys and throwing them into my lineup. I mean, maybe Boston Scott because he's kind of the one who could do both, I guess. You know, he could run in the goal line and get some catches, where Jordan Howard is just a ball carrier, goal line back, and it seems like Kenneth Gainwell is just kind of like the receiving back, even though he didn't get any receptions this last game. But,
yeah, you know what? Whenever I see a split with running backs, even at 50%, I'm like, this makes me nervous if they're going 50-50 with another running back. But when no running back on the team has a snap count of over 50%, it's literally 31, 45, and 25. I'm good. I'm going to stay away from that backfield because if anything, the running back I'm going to go for is Jalen Hurts in any of these matchups.
Definitely.
Yeah, so it makes me super nervous too. Let's move on to DeVante Parker. Yeah, we're on the wide receiver position already. Here we are.
Let's receive him.
Let's receive wide receiver position. We got DeVante Parker first. This is your boy, DeVante Parker. Like you said earlier when we were talking about Tua Tago, DeVante Parker is on a team that is throwing the ball a lot. And I want that guy on my team.
Yeah. He's 45% or more available. I think he was like 85% available on the NFL app. One thing I've realized is that the people on the NFL app aren't probably the dumbest fantasy players. And I'm just going to say it. I'm sorry. If you're on the NFL app, I'm not saying you're dumb, but I would say majority of the people who are on the NFL app are not the savviest fantasy football players. So
yeah,
the percentages are just always all over the place. It's like even like a guy like Elijah Mitchell, who I kind of wanted to throw on here again, he's still 40% available on NFL app, and I just don't understand like why.
Yeah.
The guy's just been balling the last couple of weeks, but I digress on that. But yeah, DeVante Parker comes out finally healthy. That's always been his biggest knock on DeVante Parker is his, like as Dre would say, the best ability. Availability, and DeVante Parker has struggled with that throughout his career, always battling nagging injuries here and there, but comes out, gets you 8 catches, 85 yards on 11 targets. You love seeing that right out the gate. There were some rumors or speculation that they were going to shop DeVante Parker. Obviously there are the Deshaun Watson rumors there, so could it have been like a Tua and DeVante Parker plus
right.
a first-round pick, second-round pick, whatever it is? Could he be part of like a package deal to get Deshaun Watson? Maybe. So I was actually talking to my brother off air about it. But, was this their ability to showcase DeVante Parker? Basically showing the other 31 teams like, hey, this guy's on the trading block, and look what he just did. Like, this is what he's capable of doing. So this is what we're asking. Come get him,
Right.
So I don't know if that's a possibility. Basically they're just shopping him and premiering him, basically is what I'm saying, what he could do. But, if he is on the field next week for the Miami Dolphins, I do like DeVante Parker, especially as a flex option. I just said earlier how the Texans give up the third highest yards per pass attempt. DeVante Parker, 10.6 yards per catch last week. That's kind of what he is. He's a big catch, big play guy. So, yeah, I love me some DeVante Parker as long as he's healthy and he can stay on the field.
Yeah, as long as he stays healthy, which is, yeah. Hopefully they don't trade him.
Guy's just like never open. He's like never open.
But he's open.
But he's like, he makes these catches where it's just like, he just out jumps people. He just, I don't know.
Did you see, by the way, before we move on to the next wide receiver, did you see the Steelers? We tried to fake kick it.
Yeah.
Pretty bad.
And that's how you get your kicker killed.
Yeah, and literally, it was bad. It was bad. Let's move on to Kadarius Toney, my favorite man, even though he hasn't played in a while. But we'll see if he plays tonight. It's game time decision. Still no real news on that.
He's playing tonight.
Oh, he's playing?
Yeah.
Okay, here
I
we
got
go.
an alert saying he's playing
Nice.
tonight. So, like I said, we're recording this Monday before the Monday Night Football game. So, if you see this Tuesday and the Monday night game is over, this is why we are talking like this.
Yeah. Okay. So, I guess we could just predict what we think for tonight. Maybe this might look stupid tomorrow. Maybe.
Hey.
Yeah, cut
That's
it
what it's
out.
called predictions.
But, Sterling Shepard's back in. So, I think that obviously affects it a little bit because Kadarius Toney was kind of like the sole man back when he had the big game against Dallas. But I still think Kadarius Toney, you don't have a big game like that. You don't have in the game afterwards before when he got hurt, he was doing well on like the first drive. He had 3 catches for 36 yards
in 6 snaps.
and in 6 snaps. So that makes it even better. So it's not as if this guy, he just makes things happen. I'm tired of talking about it, to be honest. There's some people like in the comments. Oh my gosh, Trey. There's some people in the comments.
Dude, he's calling you right now. He's like, dude, do I start Kadarius Toney or not?
There's some people in the comments like trying to figure out whether or not to pick him up. They don't know. They're like, oh, I don't think so. Arguing with me. It's just. Watch the tape. Watch the guy. He's not going to be a 4-stringer, which someone commented. It's like that's not. You don't have that happen, and then you all of a sudden you put this guy down. He's very talented. So prediction, I'm going to say 8 catches on 9 targets for 69 yards on 110 yards and a touchdown.
Nice. I'll say Tony finishes with 6 for 89 and a touchdown.
Why'd you pick 89 also?
Because his numbers.
That's what I picked. I picked 8 for 9.
I'm thinking that's too low though, because I don't know. This game should be like a shootout. Is what you're thinking on paper.
That's why I said 110 yards.
But yeah, it's going to be him. It's going to be Shepard. It's going to be Darius Slayton on the outside. Evan Ingram just is non-existent. I don't know why. Devontae Booker's. I'm not worried about him stealing a ton of targets either. So, if Danny Dimes and the Chiefs are going to want to keep up with the Danny Dimes and the Giants, my bad, are going to want to keep up with the Chiefs, they're going to have to utilize a guy like Kadarius Toney to get some points on the board. So, yeah, I love Kadarius Toney. He's definitely, I think he was like 50% available right now in some of the leagues. Like after tonight or after, people are going to be trying to get him, basically is what I'm trying to say. So.
It's Monday Night Football, too. Yeah. You got to think. Like, it's Monday Night Football. This is going to – and if you – I really –
as long as he stays healthy and he plays the whole game. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, injuries, you can't predict that. But
yeah. But, yeah. Hopefully you listened to us previously.
Yeah.
And hopefully the Sage as well. Yeah. Let's go on to the next –
like me.
Yeah, exactly. Go on to the next wide receiver. You look like Ash Ketchum with that hat. Let's go on to
all these free agents, dude. I'm trying to catch them all.
Let's go on the wide receiver.
You know who I'm not trying to catch? Randall Cobb.
You're okay?
Not trying to catch him. No.
Robert Tonyan out now?
Nah, I'm good on that, dude.
You good on Randall Cobb?
Yeah, I'm good on that, and it's because
we talked about starting him last week though.
Oh yeah,
just in that situation.
Dolphinally. Yeah, that was a good start with Lazard and Devontae Adams out. We did like Randall Cobb being Rodgers' go-to guy.
But that was why.
But Devontae Adams supposed to come back. Allen Lazard supposed to come back. MVS probably going to come back as well. Tonyan does go down, but Rodgers has never really been known to hyper target the tight end position. So, maybe the Packers make a move. A place. If the Dolphins do move on from DeVante Parker, I would love to see DeVante Parker go to the Packers because I would love to see what he could do with Aaron Rodgers in this offense. I think it'd be insane, but that's just a whole nother conversation. But yeah, I just think he gets you 2 touchdowns on like 3 or 4 catches. That type of efficiency is just insane. I'm not expecting that again. It wasn't like he was hyper targeted and he got you like 8 catches, 85 yards and 2 touchdowns. No, he got you like 3 catches, 15 yards and 2 touchdowns. So I'm not in on this. I think it was like a 1-week wonder, and if you started him, good for you. Good spot start for the week. But going forward, I'm not going to be jumping on this Randall Cobb hype train.
Yeah, I think it's just the inconsistencies for me, bro.
Yeah.
It's in my veins, dude. Anyways, let's go on to the next one here. We got Hunter Renfrow. I feel like we've talked about him in a lot of waiver wire episodes. What are your thoughts?
I just don't get it.
I don't get it.
Maybe it's because I'm congested, and I know I sound congested. I apologize for that.
Why?
Dealing with some sinus. I think I have a sinus infection.
Yeah.
But yeah. So maybe that's it. Maybe people can't understand me because of my sinuses, and I'm sounding congested here. But Hunter Renfrow needs to be added. I don't understand it.
And PPR. The thing is it's PPR leagues.
PPR, I guess. Yeah, I guess you could say that. Yep. PPR leagues. But Hunter Renfrow, 10 or more PPR points in 6 of the 7 games. The safest of safe floors in any, out of any receiver probably. It's just insane. I was just looking at his target totals and stuff like that and what he's on pace for, but he's on pace for 123 targets, 92 receptions. So any player that can get you 90 catches needs to be on a roster. That's just, there's not a ton of players out here getting 90 catches,
Yeah.
He's on pace to get just shy of under 1,000 yards, like 970, I believe it was. So, yeah, go out and get Hunter Renfrow. Like I said, maybe you're stacked across the board and you're just like, hey, I just need a flex player or, a third wide receiver. Or if you're in a double flex league and you're just like, dude, I just need some guy who's going to get me 10-plus points. Like, it doesn't have to be 20, 30 points. Like, I just want a guy who's going to come out here, get me 10, 12, 15 points on a consistent basis. Nothing flashy. Lunch pail guy, as we say. That's Hunter Renfrow.
Yeah, I'm with you. Hunter Renfrow, not a bad move, grabbing him. I'm behind on these highlights. I keep doing that. But, yeah.
We're getting to the point where it's like, I know Marvin Jones is a big name. Laviska Shenault, just a couple guys. Give me Hunter Renfrow over those guys. Give me Hunter Renfrow over, I'm trying to think of some guys now. Give me Hunter Renfrow over Tim Patrick. I know I talk about Tim Patrick a lot. Give me Hunter Renfrow over. I mean, just throw some names out.
Corey Davis.
I mean, if you want safe consistency, give me Hunter Renfrow over Corey Davis.
Yeah.
Corey Davis can get you that 20 burger, but if you like, Corey Davis could also get you 2 for 23 or whatever it is.
Hunter Renfrow over, I don't know, Randall Cobb.
Hunter Renfrow over Randall Cobb. I mean, there's Hunter Renfrow over a lot of guys. Give me Hunter Renfrow over Allen Robinson. Give me Hunter Renfrow over Mooney. Give me Hunter Renfrow over.
Hey, by the way, it felt
Ayuk,
good. It felt good to stop playing or not play Allen Robinson and be okay with it.
Like, give me Hunter Renfrow over any Patriots receiver. Give me Hunter Renfrow over. I mean,
yeah,
he's like a top 30 receiver, and he's just chilling on the waiver wire. I just don't get it.
Yeah. Let's move on to the last one here. We got Rashod Bateman, the Baltimore Ravens wide receiver. We talked about him last week. Obviously, the Ravens were on bye in week 8, so he may have been dropped in some leagues. People on bye weeks and whatnot. Go grab Baltimore Ravens Rashod Bateman. Is that what we're telling people? I'm not. I don't. You know me. I'm not sold on Ravens receivers ever with Lamar Jackson just running the ball a lot, but that's just me.
Yeah, this is more of a grab and stash.
Sure.
I still want to see more. We've only seen 2 games, 6 targets in each game so far for the rookie out of Minnesota. But, they took him in the first round, so obviously they want to incorporate him and utilize him into the offense. So grab and stash play for me. Be a week early instead of a week late, as we say. If he comes out and he has a monster game next week, he's going to be a hot commodity. But if you just go get him now before he has that blow-up game, you got him on your bench. And maybe he turns into something. Maybe he doesn't. So just a name to monitor and keep an eye on.
I will say, yeah. I can't remember what I was going to say. Lost it. But,
what a sleeper. Bless you.
Sorry.
I thought you were about to hit the sleeper.
I sneezed on the last episode, and someone commented, they're like, bro, don't die on us. We need you. And I was like, Thanks, dog. Let's go on to the tight end position. We got Dan Arnold, Jaguars. This is the Jaguars' main guy now. He says Marvin Jones, who? Laviska Shenault, who? Dan Arnold. That's my guy.
I mean, yeah, we've been talking about Dan Arnold for a couple weeks now, after the trade to the Jaguars. We said, hey, if you go out and trade for somebody, it's because you want to utilize that player. You're not trading for him to sit on the bench, especially when they traded away a former first-round draft pick. It was a corner they traded away to get Dan Arnold. And Mike, what's a rookie quarterback's best friend?
Tight end position.
Tight end
Always.
position. And Dan Arnold, not your traditional tight end like a Tanyan, like a Higbee. He's basically an oversized wide receiver. I mean,
Sure.
can he block? Yeah. But, I mean, when you look at the guy here, he's basically just a gigantic.
Yeah, I mean, look, he was 30 yards down the field on that.
I mean, yeah, he's an oversized wide receiver, so just a big target for a guy like Trevor Lawrence to target. He's led the tight ends in snaps the last 3 weeks, so he is the tight end there for the Jaguars. It's not like, 50 here, 50 there. No, it's like he's the tight end for him, and he's lining up a ton in the slot. He's kind of like a Gesicki, basically in the terms of the tight end. Gesicki not your typical tight end, more of a receiving tight end. But yeah, Dan Arnold comes out, leads the Jaguars, 10 targets, gets you 8 catches and 68 yards. He gets some of those catches during the last couple drives, junk time. But hey, junk time, garbage time points, those are still points in my fantasy lineup there. So, but just seems to be a guy that Trevor Lawrence is leaning on more and more as the season goes. So yeah, I think he'll be a safe, consistent guy. Give me Dan Arnold over. Obviously Tanyan's out, so you can't say Tanyan anymore. But give me a guy over like Higbee. I don't know. I know Hunter Henry has been more like of a touchdown guy, but if you take away all these touchdowns for Hunter Henry, I would rather have the consistency of Dan Arnold, because I don't think Dan Arnold's found the end zone yet, but I think those days are coming in the future.
By the way, I talked on the Jaguars this game. I really did. I don't know what. Listen to this really quick on the Jaguars game. Jaguars beat the Seahawks on total yards, passing yards, rushing yards, the amount of first downs, the third down efficiency, total plays, like sacks allowed, like literally on everything, every single, like they had less punts, and then they lost the game 31-7. If you look at the stats, it really doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I don't understand. Trevor Lawrence, I don't want to say he doesn't look good. Obviously, he's a rookie, and we've seen Peyton Manning come out and throw like 20. So
235 and a touchdown. He threw one interception.
Yeah, he's just not lighting it up like he was
in Clemson.
In Clemson, yeah.
But yeah, when I looked into those stats, I was like, "What the hell happened here?" Okay, but let's go on to next tight end here. We got Logan Thomas coming back from injury. Obviously, we told you to pick up Ricky Seals-Jones because he slid into that Logan Thomas role. And Logan Thomas coming back could possibly mean that this guy is going to be in this role now, in his role.
I mean, yeah, definitely. It kind of gives me some confidence for Logan Thomas once he returns off the hamstring injury, I think it is. I like to see Ricky Seals-Jones and how he's being utilized and incorporated because Logan Thomas is just a better version of Ricky Seals-Jones. That's why he plays 100% of the snaps when he's healthy and available. But they're going to be on a bye this week, so can't play him obviously this week. But does he return next week in Week 10? I would, be on the gambling side that he does. We just got to monitor the practice reports going forward for that. But yeah, he'd be a guy where when you go to the tight end position, he's not going to be there because they're not playing. They're on a bye and he's hurt. But, you got to filter through your roster, see if he's there. If Logan Thomas is there, I definitely would like to have him, especially for the tail end of the fantasy season. Like I said, if we're seeing Ricky Seals-Jones get incorporated as much as he is, I would think that Logan Thomas will be able to step in and be able to meet those levels of targets, receptions, all that stuff, and even surpass it because he's a better weapon than Ricky Seals-Jones.
I like it.
And then if he does play in Week 10, he plays against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who they've allowed the second most receptions to the tight end position. So he steps right in Week 10 to a money matchup. He'd be in my starting lineup if I can get him on my team. So grab and stash. Go out and get him,
Go get him. Logan Thomas. Let's go on to my boy. This is my sleeper for the Start and Sits live stream. When we found out Eric Ebron was out, I was talking about Pat Freimuth. Pat Freimuth ended up doing pretty good, ended up in the end zone. Nothing crazy, but for tight end, especially one like Pat Freimuth, he's not very owned in like any leagues, to be honest. And I could imagine that he probably wasn't started in very many leagues. He was started in 4.7% of leagues. He's rostered in 8% of leagues on ESPN. So Pat Freimuth, obviously, he had a better opportunity with Eric Ebron out. As far as like going forward, I still think he's not a terrible ad, but I think he'll have better games. The problem is the Pittsburgh offense is not that crazy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, there's not touchdown upside. I mean, if Pittsburgh won by scoring 15 points last week, which is a very weird number, but
yeah, tough division game on the road.
Right, sure. But yeah, the Pittsburgh just doesn't score a lot, so that you got to take that into account. But I definitely think as like a deep stash ad, you can throw Pat Freimuth. I have him in a dynasty league. Obviously, dynasty leagues is a little bit different, but I think that in deeper leagues, if you're struggling at the tight end position, you don't have like a Logan Thomas there or whatnot. I would think Pat Freimuth, when he falls in the end zone, he has a very capable fantasy week for you.
I mean, yeah, definitely. Back-to-back games, he's had 7 targets. Maybe this is due, largely to be Juju being out. Yeah, and if you don't know who Pat Freimuth is, get familiar with the name. I do genuinely believe that he's going to be
he's the next
very reliable tight end, especially for fantasy purposes going forward for the next several years. I mean, the guy's super talented. Yeah, I was kind of mad at you that you got him in our dynasty draft.
Yeah.
I don't want to say you snaked him because you're a Steelers fan, but yeah, it was like me and you going back and forth, and I ran out of money, and you got him. So, but I was kind of mad about that one because like I do think Freimuth is going to be a very talented guy going forward. But yeah, like I said, 7 or more targets, 7 targets and back-to-back games. I think it is due to Juju being out. Obviously, Claypool's the guy stretching the field. Deontay is still the alpha in this offense, but those short, quick, intermediate passes that Juju was getting, I think a lot of those, or at least some of those, are going to Pat Freimuth's way. So, yeah, I like it. I've picked him up in a couple leagues. I have TJ Hawkinson in a good chunk of my leagues. His bye is coming up in the next week or two. So I was like, okay, I need to find a tight end that I can play for that bye week at least. So I went out and I grabbed Freimuth, and I'm just stashing him.
Yeah.
For that bye week when Hawkinson's out and stuff like that. So
yeah, I mean, if you're that's week 9 is you got Hawkinson out.
is it this week coming up?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
You got
Okay,
Gronk,
well, perfect.
You got Washington on bye.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, he's a great
in the Bucks
player. If you, like I said, if you have T.J. Hawkinson and you need a bye week replacement, Freimuth is a guy I'd definitely be trying to get into my lineup.
Yeah, look at that chin on our picture of him on our template.
Yeah,
it looks like the crimson chin. Anyways, let's go on to the defensive streams for Week 9. First off, we'll start with the New England Patriots. Here we go. What are you thinking? This one, I actually like this one as well. Patriots defense seems like they're pretty good. And this is especially if Sam Darnold's going to be out.
I would say especially if Sam Darnold's going to be in.
Oh, okay. There you go.
I think I'm a little more worried about P.J. Walker and his ability to run with the football, make plays happen with his legs compared to Sam Darnold. And his inability to make things happen with his arms or leg. Obviously, Sam Darnold had like 5 rushing touchdowns through the first 3 or 4 games, but I don't know what it is. But Sam Darnold has fallen off a cliff. He's kind of gone back to what we've always expected Sam Darnold to be. I think this is why the Panthers are part of the Deshaun Watson sweepstakes, and they're trying to get him on the team. If I was the Panthers, I'd be doing everything I could to get Deshaun Watson onto my team, because when you have weapons like DJ Moore, Terrace Marshall out of LSU, Robbie Anderson, I know has been non-existent, but he's still a talented guy. They signed him to a contract extension, and then once they get Christian McCaffrey back, if they don't have to trade him to get Deshaun Watson, that offense will be pretty good. But the Patriots defense against a subpar quarterback in Sam Darnold, no Christian McCaffrey potentially. Yeah, sign me up.
Yeah. Would you play the Panthers defense in that matchup too?
I'm not mad at it.
I think both these defenses are pretty good. I think it's the lowest over-under. It's the second lowest over-under, 41.5 points. I think you could play both of them too.
Yeah, I'm not mad at it. I think the Panthers have one of the best run defenses, especially in terms of like yards per carry allowed. So you won't be able to run on them like the Patriots did this last game against the Chargers or other games. So yeah, I'm not mad at the Panthers as a streaming option either. Rookie on the road. I like it.
So if the Patriots defense is available, for sure go snag them up. Throw them in your lineup this week. I'm not mad at it. That's pretty dope. Let's go on to the next defense. We got the Indianapolis Colts. The Colts are taking on the New York Jets. Do I say more? Just kidding. The Jets put up a lot of points against the Cincinnati Bengals. So, but you're having faith in the Colts taking down the New York Jets?
This one's more of like we just see what's out there. Like I said, I was kind of going through the streaming defenses and seeing who's out there. And there weren't too many good matchups in terms of defenses that were
more
heavily available. Yeah. I do feel bad for the Bengals one because I think a lot of people started the Bengals defense. They were like a half a yard away from getting a pick six. I think the guy got tackled at like the half-yard line, so that would have given them 6 more points. But, I mean, who would have thought that the Jets, with a backup quarterback, no Corey Davis, that they would beat the Bengals, who were the number 1, seed at the time? I don't know. It's just one of those games. I guess that's why they say any given Sunday in the NFL,
right.
You just never know what can happen. But I think that was kind of a big shocker for everyone, minus the New York Jets.
It's
team. So.
I was pretty happy for survival. But,
yeah. But yeah, the Colts at home. Jets coming off the high of winning at home. Now they're on the road. Maybe they have a what's that called when you're coming off like a high and you slump back down to reality. Because the Jets,
reality check.
Yeah, I guess I don't know. The Jets just still not a very good team. So
yeah. I think you could stream the Colts against the Jets. Yeah. I think that's not a bad move. Let's go on to the next one here. We got the Miami Dolphins.
Just gotta get all the Dolphins.
You got them on every level, huh? You love it. Anyways, yeah, Miami Dolphins. You guys are playing the Houston Texans on Sunday. I think the afternoon game. Over under 46 points, so it's pretty average. But it's the Texans. Do we need to see more?
No, enough said, right? Obviously, Dolphins lost 7 in a row. This is like a must-win game if they even want any glimmer of hope to make a playoff run. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. I'm saying that, but they have to at least, turn the ship around or right the wrongs.
People
in a
think
sense,
that the Steelers aren't going to make the playoffs last week.
Yeah, but it's Miami at home against the Texans. They've been pretty bad on defense, but like I said, it is the Texans. There's not many off weapons they have. I'm not really worried about the run game for the Texans. And outside of Brandon Cooks, I'm not really worried about any receivers for the Texans. And then obviously, if we could just get Xavier Howard to shadow Brandon Cooks and kind of limit him and blanket him, then there's not much of an offense for the Texans at all. On the road, it's hot, it's humid in Miami. Teams, Texans playing in a dome, I believe. Not used to that kind of weather. So, yeah, this is more of like just seeing who else is out there, but I'm not mad at potentially streaming the Dolphins defense this week.
Yeah, I think it's not a bad move. Dolphins defense, pretty available, so, there's that. What's the Dolphins defense? Let's see.
Miami's got to win. This is like a game where you're at home and you have to win, and if you don't win this game, then the season's just over. So I think they'll be hyped to come out and play this game and get back on the right side of the win-loss column.
It's like when colleges, they play crappy teams at the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
Anyways, hype up the team. It's like a preseason game for them.
Yeah, dude.
They're 11% rostered in the ESPN league, so they are definitely probably available in your league. So if you need one this week, go grab the Dolphins. And the last one here we'll talk on, this was one that I brought up, is the New Orleans Saints defense, who have been pretty decent in some weeks going up against the Atlanta Falcons. As far as, I'm trying to look at defenses that aren't super owned, I think it's not a bad matchup. As far as it goes, I mean, the Saints defense is pretty good. The Falcons losing options, losing Calvin Ridley, and they really don't have. I mean, besides Russell Gage and they have Tajay Sharp. It's and then they have Cordero Patterson and Mike Davis. I mean, that being said, I think the Saints defense will be able to stop a lot of that.
Yeah, definitely, I agree on this one. Saints are in Atlanta. Atlanta's home?
It's in New Orleans.
Oh, it's in New Orleans. Oh. Yeah,
Home
I like
game.
this one. This one's probably my favorite one.
I think it's a sneaky one.
This is probably my favorite one if I had to choose one.
Yeah. Just because the Falcons, it's the Falcons. The Panthers did put up – I think the Panthers' defense is low-key a little bit better than they're probably about – I don't know. If the Panthers' defense do well against the Falcons, I think the next week you got the Saints' defense going up against the Falcons. I know every team matches up differently, but Saints just beat the Bucs. I think they're ready to take on the Falcons and kind of destroy it.
Yeah.
Am I going to eat my words?
Nope.
It's a lock.
It's a lock.
But that's it for the waiver wire episode for week 9. We did this recording a little bit earlier just so we can make sure we get all these episodes out. But anyways, we appreciate everyone who's been checking out the channel, subscribing to the YouTube channel for the Apple Podcasts. We were able to start getting ranked for fantasy sports on the Apple Podcasts app. So if you want to leave a rating and review, that helps us out big time for that.
Big time.
So all you do is on the Apple Podcasts app, you just literally scroll all the way down. And then you just write a review. You could be like, these guys are good. Or something, I don't know. You write whatever, and then leave it 5 stars.
Looks like Skrillex.
I don't look like Skrillex right now at all. I probably look like Harry Potter's really good looking uncle.
Yeah, dude, Halloween's over, dude. Ditch the glasses, bro.
These are real.
Sure, whatever you say.
I use these to see.
Yeah, real fake.
Really, really not fake. I used to wear fake glasses while we record.
Yeah, dude. And now you want me to believe that you're wearing real ones?
Okay, well, these
now?
ones are real. Okay.
Sure,
these have blue light
yeah,
protection.
Sure.
I got these screens.
Yeah, dude. It's not good to lie, dude.
Anyways, also, if you want to use the promo code AVG, dude, I'm telling you that I know this is a sponsor. I know this is a promotion, but really, if you use Underdog Fantasy, they haven't changed. So they have these player pick'ems in there. You can bet, or you can you can do over unders on certain players on receiving yards, rushing yards, passing yards, things like that. Let me tell you, our boy Cooper Kupp, his over under on receiving yards is 89.5. In 7 out of the 8 weeks, I think there's only one game this entire season he's had underneath 90 yards.
Yeah.
One game. So right now, if you use promo code AVG, you get a free match to whatever you deposit. So if you put $100 in, all the way up to $100. If you put $100 in, they'll match you $100, $50. You know, that's how it goes. So if you literally do that, put $100 on Cooper Kupp, you would have done it 7 times this year. You'd have $700, right? Or you could double your money. You could literally. I mean, I don't know what the math is on that. I mean, but it's ridiculous.
It's a winner.
It's a winner chicken dinner. So go ahead and check that out. That's Underdog Fantasy. The link is down in the description below. Whether you're listening to audio or video, go check that out. And it helps out, supports the channel. Big time.
Big time.
Big time. But anyways, just like that. Anything else you want to say?
Us big boys
are out.
This has been the AVG Fantasy Football Podcast. Please leave a rating and review. Thank you.